Hey everyone, me Kevin here with a stimulus update. Steve Ricchetti is a name you're going to want to familiarize yourself with. He's currently serving as counselor to the president, and Punchbowl News held an interview with him about COVID relief talks. He's been working with Biden, that is, Ricchetti has been working with Biden for 9 years. He served as Biden's chief of staff when Biden was vice president, and in the interview, Ricchetti was asked about, well, to start with, must-haves in the next stimulus package. By the way, in this video, I'll also be talking about Romney's stimulus proposal. Now, Steve Ricchetti said that the stimulus checks and direct assistance for aka unemployment and food stamps and so on are the absolute most vitally important items, especially the $1,400 checks. He says they're at the top of the list for us in terms of what we think is important. When asked about the minimum wage, he said, look, the math is still being worked out here in terms of how this is going to get included in a reconciliation plan. The reason for this is technically when you use a 51-vote budget reconciliation tool to get work done in Congress, you technically need whatever rule or provision or law you're trying to institute actually affect the budget. And if it doesn't affect the budget, then technically that doesn't belong in a budget reconciliation bill. Now see, stimulus checks are fine, unemployment pay is fine because those affect the budget. The United States government is paying for that. But a minimum wage increase is technically a requirement that businesses pay more money. And so this doesn't really affect the government's budget. So that issue is still being worked through. He did go on to say that the near-term goal is making sure that people have wages and the support they need to, quote, live a comfortable, secure, and healthy life. When asked about the GOP, as Republicans, bagging on Democrats for their $1.9 trillion package, calling it anything but unity or unifying, because that's obviously what Joe Biden has been pushing for, especially in his inaugural address. It was all about bipartisanship and unity. And the Republicans are like, how is $1.9 trillion that you all are putting together yourselves unifying? Of course, Biden's since come out and going, well, we can have unity without being bipartisan. But anyway, Ricchetti's answer to this is this, quote, it's just absurd that, like, how do I politely say this, he says. Look, the president is leading this dialogue. He thought carefully about every element that was contained in this proposal. Basically, Ricchetti is slamming Republicans here, saying Republicans have no power. They need to shut up and sit down. Democrats have power, and they're going to try to do something that's as bipartisan as possible. And if 10 Republicans join, great. And if they don't, oh well. Basically, Ricchetti's saying, look, we have power. America gave Democrats this power. And that's the harsh reality, that Republicans do not have the power to say no right now. And they're planning on leveraging that. Not really a bipartisan statement. It almost seemed like in his response he was a little bit frustrated that Republicans were even given as much light of day as they are right now. Obviously, very partisan talk. If you're a Republican, you're probably pissed off at this. And in some sense, you should be. But Democrats argue this and say, hey, well, Democrats are pissed when Mitch McConnell says no to stuff. It's just the same old game. The tables have just simply turned. Ricchetti then went on to say, quote, you know the president well enough to know that he is anxious for a polite and even robust dialogue and fair and honest, respectful consideration of other points of view. Basically, he's saying, look, we're trying our best. Biden has invited Republicans to the White House. Biden recognizes there are differences in points of view, but Biden also realizes that there's a lot of pain, that there's a lot of struggling right now. And Biden's priority of helping the people who are struggling with stimulus checks, the unemployment boost, the way he wants it, are more important right now than trying to be perfectly unified, because he wants people to stop suffering. When asked about other top priorities, Ricchetti actually said, no, right now, Biden's top priority is the stimulus package, which I want to talk about Mitt Romney's stimulus package, but I want to give a quick note on the PPP. There's been a little bit of an update here. There are a lot of attorneys fighting with the SBA over this because there was a time when it was thought that 1099 individuals who declared a loss on their Schedule C tax return would still be eligible for a PPP loan. However, now a lot of PPP lenders are sort of unifying to the standard that you actually have to have a profit on your Schedule C tax return. This is a big problem for 1099 individuals who are now who have shown a loss in the last years or have had enough write-offs to where they actually show a net loss. The SBA is reiterating that they want net profits on this line, even if you are a 1099 employee. This is unfortunate because it might screw these individuals out of getting a PPP loan. Now, that, again, only affects people who are 1099 and have a loss in their Schedule C, but it is something that's being fought. But fighting with the SBA sucks. We already saw how much the SBA screwed individuals on the EIDL. Anyway, let's get on to Mitt Romney's plan. So Mitt Romney today is expecting to officially unveil his plan, but we have details already. His plan is to provide $3,000 per child as a stimulus relief package. Now, Romney's proposal would provide not just $3,000 per child for children between 6 and 17 years old, but it would actually provide $4,200 per year for every child up to 6 years old. This is actually really similar to the current plan that Biden is drafting. Biden would offer $3,000 per child between 6 and 17. That's the same as Romney. But Biden would only provide $3,600 for children under 6. So basically, you get $600 more with Romney's plan. The White House sees this as a possible way to get bipartisanship. That maybe we'll be able to get 10 extra votes from Republicans if the White House aligns more with Romney's plan, and then we'll see how many Romney Republicans end up supporting this, to where maybe this Romney plan could be a path to merging this $1.9 trillion stimulus plan with parts of Romney's plan, and maybe Washington Democrats will be able to actually get the 10 Republican votes they're looking for to be able to write this bill off as bipartisan. Now, we'll see. Thanks, of course, to the Washington Post for mentioning this story, but there are some other insights here. Right now, there's the goal, really, with these child-related pushes, and this is important to know, is the goal is to make it so that low-income parents do not have hungry children. Reports have regularly indicated that millions of children are going through this pandemic without enough to eat on a regular basis, which is honestly a sad state of affairs for the biggest economy in the world. In fact, as I outlined what we were going to talk about today, Max was sitting next to me watching Peppa Pig, and it breaks my heart to think that a child like Max, who's 3 years old, could go hungry. That's devastating, and it's pathetic, honestly, that our country would not be able to properly support these situations. Anyway, after all, think about it. There's nothing the children can do about it, right? It's not like Max can actually do anything about that as a 3-year-old. This is why, by the way, I will be donating these old headphones. We are selling them on eBay. I listed them at 1 penny. You can see them at metkevin.com/headphones. And hopefully whoever wins the bid is actually a legitimate bidder. That is one of the problems with eBay. But all of the proceeds of the sale of these headphones will be going to the Children's Heart Foundation. They don't have an option for a Children's Food Foundation on eBay, but I figure this still goes to children, so it's a great foundation to support, and I know the foundation. They're a great foundation anyway. All right, now, Romney's plan, some more details. So, Romney's plan matches Biden's plan to phase these benefits out, this child benefit at $200,000 for a single family and $400,000 for a couple. However, Romney's plan would make some more changes that apply to everyone. First, specifically about how this money would get distributed, it would get distributed through the Social Security Administration rather than the IRS. Some see this as potentially better. Romney also has a cap. That is, you would only be able to get up to $1,250 per month, which if you think about it is kind of like a recurring stimulus check if you have enough children. So say you have 5 children between 6 and 17, you'd get $15,000 per year or $1,250 per month. However, if you had a 6th child, that 6th child wouldn't get any more. Now, Romney is also proposing to pay for his policy, and this is different from Biden. Romney's planning to pay for this policy with a complete elimination of the SALT tax deduction. This affects a lot of people. That means right now, you might be able to deduct up to $10,000 in state and local taxes, including property taxes. Romney's plan would completely eliminate that, which means it's almost like you wouldn't be able to deduct property taxes off your tax returns anymore, which seems a little excessive, but hey, that's Romney's idea. Romney's plan would completely eliminate this, and he would set your deduction ability to 0. Now, there's also some other complaining about Romney's plan. In fact, a right-leaning scholar at the American Enterprise Institute says that, yeah, look, with these benefits, you have to be careful because you might actually end up with less employment for low-income parents. That's because, quote, when you add in other benefits non-working people get, like food stamps and housing assistance, to this proposed child tax credit, you start getting $25,000 a year in benefits, which is, where you start getting concerned about employment disincentives. Others are saying that this is because the way these benefits work is that once you start making more money, you actually start really getting punished because your benefits plummet really rapidly. Now, if Congress were smart, maybe they would phase these benefits out more smoothly, like smooth that butter out, so to speak. But right now, us and Congress, and thinking that Congress might be smarter, things that don't really go together. Vote-a-rama is also beginning in the Senate. We just had an amendment to the stimulus or budget package get passed by a vote of 90-10, offering more restaurant support. Vote-a-rama is an opportunity for anyone to stand up and propose amendments, and then those amendments get voted on. They can really delay this package, but they could also introduce some really good new things. So we'll see how Vote-a-rama ends up affecting the stimulus package. On COVID, cases are plummeting, thank goodness. The New York Times reported a 30% decline on a 14-day moving average, with cases at 119,014 yesterday and 3,843 deaths. Deaths, unfortunately, are flat, not declining, which means we are still losing a little bit more than a twin towers of people every day. Coming soon, we may also see a vaccine passport where we have to have digital confirmation of vaccination in order to be able to fly. Or travel. We will continue to monitor this Vote-a-rama and these new proposals coming out, so stay tuned. Make sure to subscribe if you find these summaries helpful. Consider sharing the video, and folks, we'll see you in the next video.